How involved was your husband with planning the wedding?
Well, let's skip to the next.
I got so hungry, so then I was like, does anyone have food? We actually asked how much the tenting would be if it rained, and that they said $10,000. So we were like, okay. And the flower arch, which was giant, fell right on us. What was the biggest worry for the day, and did it come true? Yes. Hey guys, it's YB.
And Herbert.
We are back in the house.
Yeah.
Like sitting here with Louis. It's been a while since we did this.
True.
When's the last time? Well, before we got married.
Oh, there was a time before we were
I
married?
guess so. And we are grilling meat today, Korean barbecue at home, while answering your questions about our wedding. So we asked you guys to submit some questions about our wedding, any tips, and we wanted to share these tips for anyone who is getting married in the future or just want to know any details about wedding planning process. So we'll be grilling some meat and answering your questions.
Sounds like a good combo.
But before we continue, I have to show you a product that will help us grill the meat today. So before we continue, let me quickly go over Hood to Go by Ciara. So thank you, Ciara, for sponsoring today's video. As we're going to cook indoors, which means a lot of smell and smoke coming out, we are going to unbox this first and show you what this can do. We're going to open it up. So this entire material is from recycled and environmentally friendly ABS materials. So this is a mini portable range hood that will remove odors and absorb grease while cooking, so you can cook indoors at home. Now let's explore how easy it is to use the Hood to Go. Remember, since it is made of ABS, please avoid using it close to an open flame for safety reasons. Luckily, using electricity is perfectly safe. With the high efficient motor, it has a strong suction power that removes the harmful cooking fumes and smells. Just turn it on, so there is a power button in the back, and you can adjust the 2 speed levels by pressing on the power button. So that's the first one. So as you can see, the noise level is pretty low, and that's the next level right here. The Hood to Go is made with non-slip pad, so it's very steady on the bottom. It also has trio filtration and a magnetic attachment, so it's easy to change your filters. The filters are also dishwasher safe, so it's super easy to clean. You can also just wipe the outside when you're done. And there's a large capacity oil cup in the back that you can just empty right after using. Now, since this is portable, you can bring this anywhere with you or use it at home like us to cook some barbecue, hot pots, or any kind of meals with your friends and family. So if you guys are interested in getting this Hood to Go, check out the link in my description box below to get your early bird promo code and to learn more about how Ciara is making more effort in their sustainable mission. So we're going to be using this while grilling meat indoors today, and let's see how it works. And now back to the Q&A. We're gonna let this heat up first. We have some barbecue that my parents made. Very excited on the bottom, so we'll start with that. That's non-marinated, so Louis can have some. And then on top, we got some LA galbi from H Mart, so it's a marinated beef. So I printed out the questions you guys asked me, and I divided them into 3 sections. First, the planning, then the wedding itself, and lastly, the budget and aftermath. I'll be sharing all the specific time codes to the questions that we're answering, so you can click on whatever question you want to listen to. First, the planning. How do I even get started? I'm feeling so lost and overwhelmed. Well, we were the same. Even though we had over a year to plan, it was very overwhelming because you really don't know where to start. We had about 100 people at our wedding, so it wasn't like the hugest. It wasn't the biggest wedding in the world, but still we've never planned an event like this before.
You really go into event planning, so approach it like that.
Yeah.
Write down your items.
Being organized, I think, is key. I think the first thing you should do though is settle on a venue. That's the very first thing we did. Once you find the venue, they will give you the dates that they're available, so you'll base the date on that. And once you have a date and a location, then you can really start planning around it. A lot of venues require that they use their vendors. Not all of them, but ours did. So our vendor selecting also came from the venue. How did you choose your wedding location? Perfect transition. So we actually did a video on this, you can check it out, but we knew that we wanted to do some kind of an oceanfront wedding. We actually ended up touring several different locations, actually just 3. So we looked at Palos Verdes venues first, and that's how we chose Catalina V Gardens. It was actually the first venue we toured.
We wanted a location that has some kind of meaning, and PV is where YB grew up, and that's pretty much the first time when I visited her. We went there. So, and it's beautiful.
Number 3, how was working with a wedding planner? So actually, we never planned to have a wedding planner. That wasn't part of our budget in the beginning.
We were too confident.
But our venue actually required that we used from their list of wedding planners. So at first we were like, what? That's extra money we have to spend. But now that we had one, and we had MJ from Blush Events, I am so thankful that we did, because I don't know how we would have managed all of that by ourselves. Ooh.
Should I turn that one on?
Yeah, let's turn that one on. Working with a wedding planner was great. I highly recommend getting one if you could afford one, at least a coordinator for the day. We still made the biggest decisions, like what theme we liked, which vendors we really wanted to work with, but she did all the middle work, kind of emailing them, finding the vendors for us, and just setting up times where we could meet up, all that annoying things. She did it for us.
And I gotta say, I think the biggest benefit was on the wedding day.
Yeah.
Because you don't have time to make sure that everything is on track.
No. What was the process behind the dress? What did you love most about the dress? I actually have a video just on my dress, but I think my favorite part was that I designed it and it was exactly the look that I wanted. Number 5, how involved was your husband with planning the wedding?
Well, let's skip to the next.
I love how you make the thing louder. So the question is, how involved was the husband and family? I'll answer the family first. Family, not much. I didn't want my parents to be too involved because I didn't want to stress them out. I think this is something that we could figure out by ourselves, and my parents said they would help me whenever, and they actually helped a lot on the wedding day and the rehearsal day, just setting everything up, bringing all the stuff. But planning wise, we didn't ask too much of them. Now my husband,
Me.
what do you think? How involved were you in the planning?
Huh. Well, I can say you did most of the about planning, but I also would say it wouldn't make sense if both do the same thing. So you kind of have to divide the tasks.
Agreed.
And just rely on each other. So
yeah, I think my biggest takeaway from our experience is to just kind of assign each other what we're good at. So I'm good at designing and like kind of putting lists together, so I did all the invitations and website and stuff like that.
what am I good with?
You're good with getting things done like physically. So I asked him to pick up the alcohol, for example, which he did. Very helpful. I mean, I couldn't pick up all the alcohol. What tools did you use to be organized? I heavily used Google Sheets. That helped me. It's like the Excel version of Google, I think. And we shared the document so we could both look at it. And on the Google Sheets, I had budget, invites, RSVP list, seating chart, checklist, everything. I made different tabs and just checked things off there, and it was very helpful. Tips on choosing wedding colors. You're the
Colors.
expert in this, yeah.
Colors?
Yeah, colors.
Colors.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
he doesn't
whatever
know.
floats your
He
boat,
doesn't
man.
know. No. I at first wanted something more pink, and the colors tend to be more on the flowers, right? So I knew I wanted some kind of pink tone, so my bridesmaids had a kind of a darker pink, and the flower colors I actually ended up changing throughout, because at first I wanted mostly pink, then I wanted some nude colors, neutral color tones, and towards the end I ended up going with a lot of pastel, colorful tones. And that can change up until like a couple months before your wedding, because you don't do your flowers until kind of last minute. Your taste will change throughout month. Just look at a lot of pictures, see what you like, and if it changes last minute, it's okay, as long as it's still within the time frame. Don't go for what's trendy, go for what you like. Look at different color themes, different pictures, and you will find the ones that you're like, wow, I think this looks really good. Favorite and least favorite parts about the wedding planning. Favorite for me was designing, making the website, making the invites, to save the dates. That was my favorite part. Least favorite part, budgeting, right?
Spending money.
Spending money. To continue on that, any stresses? Yes. It was very stressful, just everything coming together, and I felt like I had no time, just did one thing little by little, kind of.
Yeah. Well, you do have to remember that you have a normal life as well.
Yeah.
With the job, or things come up, so that can be stressful. That's why starting early.
Yeah, starting early, it's good. How did you decide who to invite to the wedding and who to extend +1s to? You start with your core friends, right? And you give them +1s. We decided to give most of our guests +1, except for the ones that already had a big friend group and didn't have a partner or so. But most of them, especially if they didn't know anyone else at the wedding, they got +1s. It extended to like friends, family, coworkers. It depends how many people you want to invite.
Well, for us, it's kind of a unique situation because my friends and family live in Germany.
Yeah.
So we said like, let's focus on the ones that you have met.
Yeah.
I also don't want to ask anyone to fly over here, spend a lot of money and time, especially since we have a gathering planned in Germany.
Yes, and then we'll have our German wedding next year for Herbert's other German friends who I may not have met yet. Should we cut it now? Can we get a glimpse of your invitations and other printed paraphernalia? Yes, you can. I will include screenshots right here. I'm actually very proud of this design.
I don't even know what a paraphernalia is.
I don't know either, but I assume it's the things, the invites and stuff. How long have you thought about making Keith your officiant? A while, actually. Before Zach's wedding, we were at the Try Guys Christmas holiday party last year, and I remember drunkenly asking Zach, actually, hey Zach, would it be weird if I asked Keith to be my officiant? And I had no idea he was gonna ask Keith too for his wedding too. I had no idea. And he was like, I don't think it'll be weird. And so then, you know, we thought about that after a while. And then he officiated Zach's wedding, and I was like, wow, he's perfect. So we ended up officially asking after. What was your skincare and fitness routine for your wedding? Ooh. Well, here's my tip. For skincare, don't change anything. Don't do anything drastic. I got one facial. I did microneedling throughout the year, but that was something I did before wedding planning anyway. So don't do anything drastic. Just wear sunscreen. Fitness-wise, also, I didn't do anything drastic. I actually got sponsored by Copilot the month before, so it was perfect because I added that to my morning workout routine, and that actually helped me like stay motivated throughout. On the day, it's most important that you guys are happy and comfortable, and if you like spend so much time worrying about how you look, it's not gonna be as fun. So this one's not marinated, so you gotta dip it in the sauces. Nice. So with so much going on with your wedding organizing and work and your own channel, how did you find the motivation to maintain the new morning exercise routine and get yourself up out of bed? So actually having this routine helped us, both of us, keep going, because once you follow a routine that you are used to, it seems less stressful, less new things. Even if you're so tired, it's just the same thing you have to follow anyway.
And you're working towards a cool thing.
Yeah.
You know, so I guess to some degree, remind yourself of it, that you are in the lucky position of having an event like that.
All right, now we're in the second section, the wedding. Which food did you end up choosing, and did you eat on your wedding day? So from 24 Carats, that was our caterer, we got so much good food, hors d'oeuvres. We got Kalbi beef, Kalbi tacos, mini pretzels, and avocado toasts. But we didn't get to try all of them because at that point it was right after the ceremony and we were just like crazy. The meal, we had chicken, salmon, mashed potatoes, some veggies, and they were all really, really good.
I wasn't really hungry that day, I gotta say.
And that's normal, but you should remember to always try to eat and drink on your wedding day. I actually ended up being really hungry the whole day. There's a photo of me right before the wedding started, like right before the ceremony. At this point, Herbert's so nervous, he's not eating or drinking. I got so hungry, so then I was like, does anyone have food? And my friends brought me like a tuna sandwich, and I just started eating it in my dress, while Herbert's just like next to me like, freaking out. What ended up being your actual wedding day essentials? So I actually made a notes list on the app of all the things that I remembered as a checklist. I will share the screenshots with you right here. All the wedding favors that we had for people. My parents and my uncle actually ended up helping me, and my brother, bring all these things to the venue. Very thankful. What was the biggest worry for the day, and did it come true? Yes. So
the weather.
Yeah, the biggest worry for us was the weather. The wedding was in Palos Verdes, which is known to be very gloomy because it's by the ocean. And we didn't really think about this before. May gray and June glooms are a thing. And you would think May in LA would be sunny, but it wasn't. And the days, weeks leading up to it was always gloomy. Even now, sometimes it's still gloomy here.
And we had a full outdoor wedding.
Yeah, it was full outdoor, no indoor at all. I was actually worried that it was gonna rain. That was the biggest worry. And we actually asked our rental company how much the tenting would be if it rained. And that they said $10,000. So we were like, okay.
Don't rain.
Please don't rain. So luckily it didn't rain, but it was gloomy that day and a bit cold, and there's nothing we could do about it, you know. But what we did do about it was we ordered some blankets for our guests as wedding favors, and everyone really liked that. So we ended up working with it, but yeah, it was definitely something that I was a bit sad about, the gloomy weather. But it actually ended up looking really good for photos and videos. I mean, it would be great if the ocean was as blue as it was when we first checked it out. I think everyone still loved the venue and the event, so it ended up being fine. How did you combine both cultures? So actually, we had to combine 3 cultures in a way: Korean, American, and German. So we had a Korean ceremony in the middle, like right after dinner, which was really, really fun. I'll share a video from that soon. We had, for the cake, we had a figurehead, like a bobblehead on top of the cake. My figure was wearing hanbok and Herbert's was wearing leatherhosen.
Even though it's not really where I grew up, but
It's German.
I guess it's a German.
Yeah. And you know, Herbert's best man Chris did some speeches in German. I incorporated some German in my vows, and Herbert's parents were incorporated in our Korean ceremony and did some speeches in English, and I'm so proud of them.
My mom also wore the hanbok.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Herbert's mother also wore hanbok, my mom's hanbok, and she looked beautiful. It was really great to see that come together. Anything you didn't expect on your wedding day, good or bad? Well, I can tell you one bad thing that happened. It's kind of hilarious now to think about. So before the wedding started, we were taking pictures. So we took group pictures with family and our wedding party. And at the end, it was Herbert, me, and Louis. 3 of us were gonna get pictures together because Louis was the ring boy. So we posed in front of the flower arch, and it was very windy at that point. Like, for some reason, a strong wind was coming in, and the flower arch, which was giant, you can see in the pictures, fell right on us. Louis was okay. He escaped in time. But Herbert and I literally got under the flower arch. We were stuck under it on the floor. Everyone lifted the arch off us, and we were okay. We were okay, but that was something unexpected.
That could have actually ended it. You got hit.
I got buried under.
And that thing is heavy.
Yeah.
So we did get lucky.
Yeah, but my makeup artist ended up fixing my hair because it got ruined after that so quickly, and no one knew after. Was it worth and fun to have a choreographed first dance?
I gotta say yes.
Yes. I loved it so much.
And again, me never ever would have thought that I'm gonna dance in front of people like that. That's a cool memory.
Yeah, it was so fun. I enjoyed every moment of it, and somehow we pulled it off. It was such a thrilling feeling.
But also very important that you don't have to be perfect at all.
No. How do you manage talking to everyone and getting pictures with your guests? So every time we had kind of a break, so after the ceremony and between dinners and receptions, we just talked to everyone. You know, we weren't necessarily together all the time. We would separate and talk to different people. I actually didn't end up taking too many pictures with guests because, yeah, you're right, there's not much time to do pictures with everyone. But we did have a photo booth at the end, and that helped because everyone was lining up for pictures, and it's really easy then to get pictures with everyone in one location. Is it worth getting a videographer? Yes.
Yeah.
Our videos from 7th Floor Media, check it out if you haven't yet. The trailer is out. The full video is almost ready, they said. I think videographer is amazing. You can watch it from whenever, later. I mean, my parents have their wedding video from when they got married, and we watched that for inspiration, and it was so beautiful. Would there be anything you would change looking back?
Maybe the date or the weather.
Yeah, everything was perfect other than the weather. And the weather didn't get better the week after, or even, I guess now it's a little better, but now it's too hot. So we would have been sweating in our outfits, so I don't really know. How did you control your emotions during it all, and how did you feel? Oh, I full on cried. Multiple times. I cried entering for the ceremony, and at the end during the send-off, I was bawling. I was like hugging everyone and crying from happiness. So I didn't control my emotions at all. And don't, it's your wedding day.
Don't control your emotions.
Yeah. Now we're at the last part, the budget and the aftermath. How did you guys budget and finance for everything? Did you have savings? Did you take out loans, etc.? We did not take out loans. We luckily had savings to pay for it, but I did try our best to budget it out. Again, we made the Google sheet. So how much everything cost, we're not gonna share how much everything ended up costing total. We'll keep that private, but I do wanna share some of the biggest costs, something we didn't expect. So I will show you a glimpse of how things cost in California. It's not cheap. I can tell you the biggest cost we had was food.
Food?
Food cost $17,000. That was for about 100 people, and that didn't include alcohol, but that did include all the services and the bartenders. Second biggest cost was rental. So it would be the tables, chairs, plates, the bar or the bartender, all the things that were rented. Because the venue just came with the venue, the location, nothing else. So the rental cost $15,000. That was high. We also had to add heaters. That's why it went up so much, because it was cold. Well, what are you gonna do? Who knew you would need heaters in May, end of May?
In California.
In California.
And just to put it in perspective, I think the German wedding is gonna be 1/4 of the costs. Well,
we don't know that yet. We haven't planned the full
about. So it really depends where you're planning it.
Yeah.
But the biggest cost.
He's choking.
Biggest cost for us was venue, all the rental stuff. Because I mean that hurts.
Venue was next. I'm also choking.
Yeah, well, that's another good topic here, man.
Venue also cost a lot. Venue cost us $12,000. Right now, actually, it went up. It costs more now, which is crazy to me. But those three were the top three biggest costs, and after that, it kind of. Well, I guess flowers, $9,900, so almost $10K. Yeah, flowers tend to cost a lot. I knew that, so we ended up finding a vendor that was actually much lower in price than some of the other vendors we talked to. Like some other vendors we talked to were charging minimum $20,000, and I was like, that's crazy. No, our planner MJ kept looking and found one that was much more reasonable. One item that surprised you about its price point for me was a DJ. I thought the DJ would cost a lot less. We also had to choose from our vendors, but it ended up choosing over $2,000. But he was really nice and he was really good. So I loved how he did, but it was definitely a cost I didn't expect. What's something you think is 100% worth splurging? Videographer? I think videographer, photographer, definitely worth splurging, but don't go for the most expensive ones either. Like there will be ones that were more reasonably priced. Just do a lot of research. That's where the planner can also step in to help you with budgeting, helps find some cheaper vendors.
Maybe something was worth it, the planner, because
through
her we might have saved more money on the other end.
Our planner cost about $5,000. She was also on the cheaper end compared to other vendors that we found, because we didn't do full planning because we had already found the venue, so we did partial planning, but she did so much for us. How do you juggle planning 2 different weddings in 2 locations? Is the German wedding still happening? Yes, it is very much happening. We haven't done much yet.
Well, we've done it once, and now you know a lot of things.
Yeah, now I feel like a pro, seriously. I think this one will be way easier. We booked the venue already. That's what we've done so far. I started making the save the dates, and we're just about to get started, but since we're doing it in 2 different times, it's way easier. Sharing your story and life so publicly, how did you decide what to share and what to keep private?
Well, you got some requests to film the whole thing live.
Yeah.
I think that was a no.
So I did get a sponsorship offer that I could live stream my wedding to my fans and make money off of it. And that's where we drew the line. We were like, no, some parts will be to ourselves and for our guests. We don't want to monetize the whole thing. On the other hand, I was okay with sharing it with you guys, like some parts of it that we chose, because I like sharing these things with you all. And it's also for kind of our family and friends to watch it on our channel easily. So some things that I would share anyway with a group of friends and family, I shared it. Okay, so that was all the questions. Now I have some quick tips for you guys before we end the video. Okay, tip number 1. Book a venue with indoor-outdoor flexibility, just because I was stressing so hard on the weather. So if you're like me and you know you'll get anxious, try to find the venue that will have the flexibility. Ours had no flexibility, it was all outdoors, and that really added to our stress. Tip number 2, hire a planner or at least a coordinator on the day of if possible. Tip number 3, try to do one thing every month. So for example, wedding party events, dress shopping, food tasting, makeup trial. Try to do one thing a month if you have, let's say, a year to go. And it really helps you keep on track while not feeling so overwhelmed. Tip number 4, give guests RSVP deadlines for about 1 to 2 months before the wedding. These deadlines are very important so the guests know when to submit the deadline, when to submit their RSVP. That way you can tell your vendors how many people are attending, you can make your seating charts, all that stuff. And continuing on that, you can text the guests via apps like textmyguests.com, that's what I use, to remind them instead of emails. Be ready for last minute drops. This will happen. It can have a family emergency, medical emergency, or just some people deciding it's not happening that day. So we definitely had last minute drops, not too many thankfully, but I've heard this happens in every wedding. Be prepared for that. Don't be too disappointed. It happens. Just be ready because your seating chart may have to change and all these last minute changes may have to happen. Think of personal touches ahead of time. This is like welcome sign, guest book, seating charts, name cards, wedding favors, traditional drinks, whatever you want to do that's personalizing the wedding. Use Etsy. We found so many good things on Etsy and you can really personalize it to your taste. Give your wedding party specific assignments. So this is good for everyone because your bridesmaids or groomsmen may not be too stressed then trying to figure out everything for you. For example, I gave my bridesmaids different assignments like, okay, you two, please help me with the dress when I'm changing. You please help me with my makeup and hair when they're, just tell me when they're messed up. You two help me with photos and videos. So I did this assignments and it was perfect. So everyone knew the little one thing they had to do and they could focus on that. Be prepared to go over budget. This happens a lot and hopefully it's not by much, but it will possibly happen for last minute budget changes. For us, it was adding the heaters that added a lot of money to our rental budget, but it had to happen. Get a personal officiant if possible. Funny is good. Keith was amazing. He made our ceremony so much fun and really relaxed both of us as well because we were so nervous and he made us feel really good. Try to have private moments alone as a couple. It's hard because everyone wants to talk to you and stuff, but just try to have some moments. If you have a room, if you have like a bridal suite, eat and drink water throughout the day. Very important.
Eat water.
And use the bathroom every chance you get, especially if you're in a dress. Try to use the bathroom every chance you get. So every time I change into a different outfit, I use the bathroom. And lastly, have a send-off. We decided to have a send-off and some people have sparklers. Our venue wasn't allowing sparklers. So we actually got these glow stick thingies that everyone waved. And it was just the perfect end to the wedding because it just felt like everyone was coming together finally and sending you off. And it was just so great.
And try to enjoy.
Everyone's there for you. Have a great time. Don't worry too much. I honestly, even though the weather was cold and gloomy, I didn't care on that day. That day I was just like, you know what? Everything else is gonna be fine. Even after the flower arch fell on us, I was positive. I was like, it's fine. If this was the worst thing that happened today, that's perfect. And really everything else went so well after. So that was us answering your wedding questions and sharing our tips. I hope you guys enjoyed and we finished all the meat actually that we brought, so proud of us as well. That was a long video. I hope you guys watched through it. If not, it's okay. Okay, so thank you guys for watching and we'll see you next time. Bye!